Do you often experience the pain of getting results you don't want? Maybe you even joke about it being the case, like these results always happen to you. Well, today you will learn how to turn it all around, how to turn those results you don't want into a blank canvas to create a new life from. So let's get started in working with the law of assumption, in defining your blank canvas and thereby creating real magic in your life. Let's go. The law of attraction and the law of assumption really go together. They complement each other. And not knowing this, not understanding the concept that we're going to go deep into today will cause you also to miss it and to be one of those people that say, I know about it, but not actually reaping the benefits. Like my good friend and mentor Bob Proctor always said, you can know about this, but you don't know it at all until you've applied it. To the best of my knowledge, I have assimilated and applied these concepts in my life, and I've also gone from zero, close to homeless in a new country 17 years ago, to today owning a multi-million-dollar global business that have done over $10 million in business in a few short years, but that is not an accident. As an illusionist for so many years, I helped people assume a reality that wasn't real. That was my job, getting people to draw false conclusions about themselves and their environment. But I also realized I did it to myself. I assumed a lot of things that wasn't true. It was normal, but not true. It's normal for most people to assume lack, limitations, all the reasons why they can't. Now, they don't do this consciously. This is a subjective trap, and I will show you in a moment where that happens and how it impacts you and what you can do to get to the other side and mitigate that trap in your life. But the point was, everywhere I looked, in entertainment, everywhere else, there were people around me assuming things they didn't want. Some even verbalized it. Maybe you can recognize that. You hear people say, it always happens to me. Why does this bad stuff happen? They keep attracting it by a lawful process that works for all of us. Observing all of that around me sent me out on a long journey trying to understand myself better, because I started recognizing I assumed too what I didn't want. And I came to the conclusion there's a three-step process. There's ignorance, the absence of knowledge, not knowing. Then there's two, knowing, the assimilation of knowledge. This is where you gather information. We've been wrongfully programmed to assume that gathering information is knowledge, is learning. It's not. It's gathering information. Unless you reach the third step, and that is what this video will help you do, which is the application of knowledge, nothing happens. But when you get to that part and you start applying this in your life, it actually creates awareness and it creates wisdom. You have gone from not knowing to assimilated the knowledge to applying the knowledge, and you will find very quickly that your results will start changing. So let's learn how to define your better results. Let's uncover what is subjectively holding you back from assuming those new results that you want. And let's also learn how to work with the law of attraction in the best way possible. Where do things come into your life from? It happens through a lawful process. It's called the perpetual transmutation of energy. Quantum physics is showing us that nothing is created or destroyed. It just changes its frequency. So here you have the energetic spiritual plane. That is where everything comes from. It comes from one source. Then you have the intellectual side of you where ideas are created. And when you do this the right way, when you actually work with the law, then you will find that your results will show up here on the physical level. So in that order, it's always upside down, inside out. There's a mental transmutation of energy that happens with and through you. And your assumptions will guide how that energy transmutes and what you transmute it into in your life. And so as we move forward, you will start understanding the entire creative process and how you can assume a totally new reality and how physical reality outside will start changing in accordance with what you now see as a new mental blueprint, because the truth is, this is not where things are. We look at physical reality and say, this is where things are. That's not where it is. That's where things end up as a result of the lawful process with and through you. Now, one thing that's really important to note, these are not conscious assumptions. Nobody sits down and say, I really hope today is going to be a crappy day. Nobody does that. Or I am going to assume the worst for myself. We don't do that, of course. It's all subjective. And this is the pitfall I'm talking about that is so overlooked that I will go into in a moment so you can see for yourself how and why it expresses itself in your life. So let's keep going. In a moment, I'm going to illustrate with magic how these better results show up in your life, the results you want. It looks like real magic, but you know it was law. So how is assumptions defined? It's defined as a thing that is assumed to be true without proof. And like Price Pritchett said in his wonderful book, U Squared, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Here you will understand a lawful process that will help you elevate your attraction and assumption game. First, I want to read you a little excerpt here from a brilliant book that I've been studying for a long time. This is a point that is truly understood by probably not more than one person in a million. You know a thing mentally by looking at it from the outside, by comparing it with other things, by analyzing and defining it. Whereas you can know a thing spiritually only by becoming it. And that is what you're doing here. You go from knowing to becoming. So let's take a look at this and understand it much deeper. You have a big circle here that represents your mind, and the small circle represents your body. We have an image of the mind now, which enables us to understand this concept deeper. Without a picture of the mind, there's confusion. And I guarantee you, if there's confusion in here, there's confusion out there in your attraction and assumption game. The big circle is divided into two parts, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then of course the body. You live on all three planes. And like we talked about earlier, energy is where everything comes from, and you pull ideas and thoughts down into your conscious mind from energy. That is also energy, it's just in a different frequency. So when we talk about attracting more and better, we're talking about a physical effect. But let's go to the main cause. And what is that? It's harnessing the power of your conscious mind by utilizing 2 of your 6 mental tools. What you attract will show up on the physical plane. But first, we have to go to the main cause. We have to work with the conscious mind. And we have to work with the will and your imagination. The will and the imagination coupled together is what gives you the ability to build a new mental picture on your screen of your mind that enables you to assume from. It, in other words, becomes your assumption anchor. Remember that, an assumption anchor. Now, that is always rooted in the future, but the present and future are actually illusions. The only thing you have is now. But your imagination enables you to go to the future and build that picture. But that has to be your assumption anchor. Now, this is the conflict most people experience. They expect negative results. They hope for better on a conscious level. But you see, you have, in most cases, hope here, and then you have expectations here. Expectations, hope here, and expectations here. What do you think will win in any scenario, in any situation? Of course, negative expectations will win because they're charged with emotion. So what you have to learn is to penetrate the brain barrier between the conscious and the subconscious mind. And it is said that it takes about 23 seconds to do that with a new idea before that minus becomes a plus, before you adopt a new feeling that comes with that idea. So when that becomes a plus here, when the emotion becomes positive, you're creating a whole brain state where your entire being switches from an understanding to a beingness, like Neville talked about in the book. You can know a thing spiritually only by becoming it. When you do this, your entire system changes. Your body moves on to a higher frequency. Now, the word feeling It's the word we've invented to describe that frequency we're in. So now it's going to make you feel a whole lot different. But you see, the law of attraction for most people is just thinking positive thoughts. That's not going to do it. You need to learn how to assume a new reality with your will and your imagination first. When I was broke, I was sick, I was unhappy, I was looking at an eviction notice on my door and a blood test that said I was sick and a relationship that was miserable. I started assuming that I was going to be financially free. I started assuming that I was working with the best in the world in personal development. I started assuming a totally different reality than what my sixth senses picked up from my environment. So this is the key. When you make congruency between thoughts, feelings, and then your action, then you will attract from a completely different frequency. And in a moment, I'll illustrate how this all comes together with, you guessed it, an illusion. So what are these better results for you? There's a three-step process to really setting the proper kind of goals. You have A goals, what you know how to do. You have B goals, what you think you can do. And then you have C goals, what you really want. That's where the excitement comes. Napoleon Hill talked about it. He said it takes no more effort to demand prosperity and abundance as it does to accept misery and poverty. It takes no more effort. It's the same mental tools. So expect more, expect greater from a conscious perspective. It's much easier and much more inspirational than just accepting what was or keep assuming same results like the ones you're trying to get rid of. It's much easier to 10x your results than it is to 2x your results. What? That's right. When you work with 2xing your results, you are working from an old paradigm, from a stretch idea. Oh, if I just do this and that happens, then we can do. It's old programming, most of it. There's no inspiration there. When you work with a 10x idea, when these better results for you represent a 10x idea, there's excitement. There's a completely new frequency that you have to work from. It is a want frequency. The 2x result is a need energy. So you want to make sure that your better results represent a want goal, something that is truly worthy of you. And I will also make sure we put a goal card template in the description below so that you can fill it out and utilize it on your path forward. It will help you in assuming a new reality for you. So every time your hand goes in the pocket and feel that goal card, the same cells of recognition trigger in your conscious mind, the cells that resonate with your 10x new reality. When it scares and excites you at the same time, that's when you know you have a great goal to go for. And the probability, the likelihood of you creating this process with and through you is so much bigger. It's so much easier getting emotionally involved in a 10x goal than it is in a 2x goal. Let me know in the comments if this does not make sense to you. And remember the conflict? Most people expect what they don't want. They hope for better. And of course, that cannot create much change on a physical level. So it all comes back to working with your mental tools. And now let's illustrate this. Let's bring it all together with an illusion. So with a clear goal, you're not home free just yet, because the truth is sometimes you will feel like you're stuck in the middle of a lot of daily trivia. But you know, with the right intention, the right assumptions, you will move towards your goal, and your goal will move towards you. In fact, sometimes it will almost seem like you are defying natural law in the process. But to you, it was just real magic all along. So as you keep working on this concept, your better results are on their way. But so are hundreds of other results that you haven't defined yet. So make sure you study and stay in the study, and check this next video out where I detail the law of attraction. With these two videos, you're well on your way to creating real magic in your life. This is Hansen. Bye for now.